Hi. Okay, so I'm putting the road wheels and everything together here. And they have what they call polycaps, these little black rubber inserts. And one goes in each main sprocket, the idler, and the road wheel. And typical, so far it's been typical Tamiya quality, you know, exactly what you expect. Now, one thing about these drive sprockets, they fit so snug, especially with that poly cap in there. You don't hardly need glue, although they glue them, but you do need to be forewarned that there is a they do go in one way. There is a little guide notch on one of them, so I actually probably missed it on this one, but this thing sits, you know, even if you get it out, the guide thing is so small that any difference is tiny, nothing I'm going to notice. And of course, a serious model builder would. I didn't even see that little guide pin in. I'm kind of surprised you have one, but anyway, the easiest thing I am finding to do is drop your poly cap in there, put them together, and then just seal it with some of this thin. And of course, Tamiya products get Tamiya glue. They're made to work together. And that's already starting to set. So I know most people will pre-paint the wheels on a tank. Normally, I probably would. In this case, I have a different plan for painting it. So we'll see how this goes. Here's a point worthy of mention. Looking at the diagram for the idler wheel, it looks like the back part of the wheel should be the other way around, but it doesn't fit that way. It only fits this way. This shows the smooth side, yet in here you see it shows the sticking out is the, I guess you would call it the depressed side, right here. And if you try to put it on that way, it just flat out doesn't fit. But if you go the other way, it fits snugly. Take a look at something. Yeah, it goes on just fine. It's a snug fit with that plastic rubbery center, what they call the poly cap. You don't even really need glue to hold it in place, and it rotates, and the track fits perfectly. So I think that instruction sheet may have that turned around. I mean, it's not going to be catastrophic either way. Okay, these poly caps are genius because the wheel just slides on, but it rolls, but it's not coming off. The rubber does the friction fit of holding it on to the axle, but it's slick enough that it'll rotate. That's awesome. Oh, Tamiya, I love you. I see how they do it. The poly cap is small enough that it doesn't actually brush up against the sides of the wheel, but at the same time it's snug enough around the axle, so it grabs the axle but kind of floats around inside the wheel, which means that it spins freely. I think Tamiya is thinking along the lines of somebody possibly wanting to turn these into RCs. Remember, Tamiya's first tanks, even the wooden ones, were battery powered. They weren't radio controlled, but they did have engines, so that would kind of be in line with their traditions. Okay, that went way too easily. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. The upper road wheels do not have a way to rotate. This outside one has the axle that goes in. The inner one can roll, but there's no other way to secure it. So I suppose you could put something in through the other side if you wanted to, but you'd have to engineer that. Clearly not made to actually track. There are little pinholes on the back side of the return rollers, which have a you can see daylight through the thing. If you were going to make, you could make an RC out of this, and all you have to do is pin a little axle in there so that the return rollers could freewheel. It wouldn't be that hard. I'm not doing it on an RC, so it's not worth doing, but it's nice to know it's there. Okay, that just went together way too easy, and the wheels all of them roll on both sides, including the idlers and the drive wheels. Only these top ones don't. Half of me wants to go ahead and fix those idlers up top just so I can roll it. And the inner ones do roll, it's just the outer ones that don't. But actually, that's kind of rolling there anyway. You know, you may not need glue on those, but you could get them to roll. Track teeth might hold them in place. Well, that just went together way too easily. I'm not, like I said, I'm going to paint it last so that I know that's not normally the way you do armor, but I'm going to do it that way partly so that I know that all these parts get good, strong glue, plastic on plastic glue bonds, but also the paint scheme on this is relatively straightforward, and the only thing that's going to be kind of a chore is the road wheels, but that's not the end of the universe. I'll just tackle that with a brush. All right, now we start on the gun and the upper part of the hull. I'm not a big fan of two-piece side-by-side barrels. It's hard to get them to look good. I see why a lot of people like the metal barrels, but I'll go ahead and just use this one. And of course, typical Tamiya fit, but I got the clamp down as hard as I can because tighter, obviously, I can get that seam right now, the less I got to deal with it later. Pretty simple gun mounting system, and this cone-shaped piece holds it in place, but it articulates without any problem, and it stays up when you point it. Well, it did stay up. Anyway, you get the point. Now, these little hooks that you have to put 4 on each side, I believe that's where the shears and armor attaches, so I made sure to put a really strong glue, plastic on plastic glue bond there, because that's going to have to support the weight of the shears and armor. And I found with most kits, when you start putting that shears and armor on, that becomes a real weak point, because on the real tank, they're big chunks of steel, but on the model, they're tiny bits of plastic. And to be this far along after only a couple hours, I mean, this is almost embarrassing to other armor kits. So far, typical Tamiya, shake the box and the parts will pretty much put themselves together. Haven't had a bad fit yet. There was one spot on the where the equipment goes, it gets a little stingy on the diagram. You realize, oh, that's behind the gun, not it goes here, not actually on the gun, so you're looking through the gun in that picture. Now, a few minutes of confusion we got. Once you start laying the parts on, you're like, oh, okay, that's how it goes. I said these little hooks were probably for the shears and armor, but there's these other bigger pieces that I'm pretty sure it hangs on also, so we'll see as we get further along. But that's good, because those little hooks would have been pretty anemic. So there's the piece that hangs on those hooks, and I'm guessing the shears and armor hangs on that. Let me read ahead in the instructions and see. I see you install all those hooks on there, and it hangs on that one. That's interesting. Wow, I didn't realize that was the way it hung on there. Cool, education has occurred. For the hangers, I've got to finish the other side, but there are 4 different sizes of hangers. You have one size run across the top, and then there's a smaller one at the front, and then you have a different size at the very front of the thing, and then 4 of these other sides, which I assume match up to the real ones because detail is insanely good with Tamiya. Well, that's it for tonight. That's about as far as I can go. I guess I can glue the tank commander together, but other than that, that's about as far as I can go. Get everything overnight to harden, but that ain't bad for a day. Man, go Tamiya. Well, guys, take care of yourselves, and as always, model on. Wait a second, I have something else I can work on for a little while. The modeling day is not yet over. This 1/72 scale A-37's got some extremely small parts, some antennas and hinges and things, but it's sitting on its nose without any help. The silly putty that I wedged in the forward end of the tip tanks and the nose seems to be enough to hold it down. So tomorrow, probably finish it off, see about getting it painted. Well, I'm going to let everything harden. That's a wrap for the day, so I'm shutting down the Tarbus. And I put that picture up there to replace the shelf that almost fell off, so got to find a place for the caribou. I guess I can go up on the survivor shelf. Take that back. I'm not sure I got room there. Well, I'll find a place for it. And mostly finish that little 3-part Avro Aero car. But okay, well, that's a wrap, guys. Take care of yourselves, and as always, model on. it.